Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Wednesday 18th, 2024 edition, Marshall, of the Abel Marketing Facebook Live. And he's now a returning guest, my friend, coach, mentor, fellow, what should we call each other? I don't know. And we're here to talk today about Marshall. And I did Marshall's Business Inner Circle Spotlight at the beginning of March, talking about my company, Abel Marketing and Copywriting. But I want to return the favor to Marshall, as I always do, because Marshall's got some really exciting stuff going on, including some stuff that I'm participating in. And I want to get that started. But I want to first ask Marshall, how are you?
I'm doing well, Ben. I'm doing well. Thank you. And I'm not, what we have in common is not baseball, because I'm not a Blue Jays fan. I'm not a Blue Jays fan. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm a baseball fan more than I'm a Blue Jays fan. But okay. I think what happened to me was because the Blue Jays games are on Sportsnet and I get cable and I pay for it, obviously, right? I just get a lot of Blue Jays games. So I use that as like my creative outlet from working and life and stress. But, you know, I do actually write about baseball as well. So we were talking about, so people on this live know, we were talking that time at one of our momentum sessions about batting and people being on deck. And I referenced the concept called in the hole. And I actually looked it up and I sent it to you. But that's not the purpose of this discussion. So let's start off, and I'm going to share this so people can see it, and I'll repurpose it and put it on my YouTube channel. Let's share the ONtrepreneur Growth Summit, because I think it's critical. And it always flags it in my Grammarly, and based on all my copywriting, it flags entrepreneur because of the way you spelt it. O-N low T, or small or lowercase t. So talk about the ONtrepreneur Growth Summit, because I'm really looking forward to this.
No, thank you. You have to get your ticket. So
yes, I do.
Basically, it is, it's full day. It's June 1st. It is in an amazing venue in Richmond, British Columbia, called Nook co-working space, not to be confused with Nook, the restaurants in Vancouver. Right. It's not a restaurant. It's a co-working space.
Right.
And Jessica and Alvin started this up back in September. They're awesome, and they're working with us on this. They're one of our sponsors. And basically, it's a full day. It's Saturday, basically all day. It's like, you see 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
I'll scroll down a little bit here and share some of the agenda while you keep talking.
Yeah, so basically, it's a full day of speakers. It's talking everything from sales and marketing to leadership and mindset to operations, grant opportunities for small business owners. There's going to be lunch served. That's part of your ticket entry. There's going to be, as you see at the bottom, the most important part, of course, the happy hour. There'll be cocktails and appies with live music. And it should be a lot of networking, a lot of networking. So there's speakers, there's there's going to be some panels, fireside chat with a special guest. There's no fireplace, but that's okay.
Oh, come on.
I know. I shouldn't have said that.
But on June 1st, do you really need a fireplace?
Well, actually, they have.
Maybe you do.
Actually, outside of Nook, they have a patio surrounding all of beautiful Richmond, and they have a bunch of fire. Oh yeah, you have. Yeah, they have a bunch of fire tables, so it could be a fireside chat. Anyways, and there's going to be breakout sessions, which will deepen our learning and our networking, and it's just going to be really, really good. Awesome. Okay. So I'm just going to, as my dog barks.
Yes, I know your dog likes to bark, and that's okay. This is a warts and all Facebook Live, and there's no like sanitized background kind of it, right?
No, and I'm noticing there's a bit of a mess here, so I've got to clean this up. Maybe that's my responsibility. But anyways, it's geared. I call it ONtrepreneur, for a specific reason, and that's why we're doing this conference, because I find we actually haven't asked me that question. Why? What's the why? But it's because I find we're, as entrepreneurs, small business owners, focus too much on the day-to-day in the business, which there's a time for that. But this is going to focus on working on the business, so we can actually grow our business.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've just got up on the screen here too. Folks that can see, I see we've got some people viewing. That's the Nook co-working space. I went there for something else I'm part of called Internet Masterminds with Matt Astafan. We had one of our networking events there. Really fun spot. Really fun event. It was called Evil Marketing Secrets at the end of February. And a lot of interesting things transpire at those events. And so can you dive a little bit more into the entrepreneur thing? Because I think that's really important, right? Because I'd like to know a little bit about the whole capital ON part of entrepreneur.
Yeah, so like I said, I find we work too much in our business, and there is a time for that. Don't get me wrong, but in order to really get traction and grow the business to where we want it to be, and I'm all about growing a business to serve your life, not growing a business to be your life.
Right.
It needs to serve your life, whether you have a family or you have a community, or you want to live outside of the business. So the entrepreneur, the ON, it's really a takeoff of the concept of the E-myth, which is really getting you to focus on the business, on the sales and marketing. I remember seeing a stat that the average small business owner spends like 75% of their time on administrative work and like 25% on revenue generating activities. And it needs to be the other way around. And this is all about being a leader, working on having a vision, knowing your why and your what, which we've talked about many times. We just talked about in momentum. But working on those activities that will help you get there, as opposed to getting stuck in necessarily doing the books yourself. Maybe even doing the blog writing yourself. Right. Hire someone like Ben. Right. So get people that are better than you, and it's in their sweet spot, and you can focus on what will move your business forward and not getting stuck in the details of it. And
I'm just sharing the E-myth revisited in the background here. I put it in the chat because I read it a couple of years ago, actually, when we first met and I first did the Create program with you. And so there's some really important lessons in there. I remember the whole idea of like, are you a technician? Are you a leader? Or are you a manager of your business? And I think a lot of people, myself included, don't understand that distinction. And I think they also often they're a technician, right? But they're just like finding work and getting work, but they're not really doing the other parts.
Well, and here's the thing. So I actually did have an entrepreneur, an E-myth coach for a while, just pre-COVID. I hired an E-myth coach for my sign business. And the one thing I asked them, because I found in my sign business, I was doing a lot of the sales. And a lot of quoting, dealing with the customer, right? And I remember asking, I said, so I guess I shouldn't be doing that because that's a technician's work. It's revenue generating, but I should be focusing on the vision and leading the business. And he goes, no. That you can be a technician at times. So like as a coach, I'm a technician in the fact that in momentum, it's me. I don't have someone facilitating those sessions. I don't have someone coaching my clients. It's me. If you're a dentist, if you're an orthodontist, if you're a copywriter, you're doing the actual technician work. That's fine. I'm not saying don't ever do that. The point is to block time to be the leader of your business and work on it. And that is like doing Facebook Lives with Ben. That is getting in, going on social media and not scrolling and playing around and, commenting on, oh, looks like you had a good dinner last night. No, it means engaging people in business, lead generation, business development, networking, revenue generating activities. And most of us, it's comfortable not to do that. It's more comfortable to scroll, research, play around, file papers, because it's safer and it's not going to move our business forward.
Yeah, I think that's a really important distinction. And I saw the summit and I saw it and I thought, what a great idea. And I sort of felt like, well, there's some of those areas I probably have experience. I probably don't need help, but it was probably look at it as a networking opportunity to help others. And we had a really important discussion today, and it's something I'm hammering on my own business about understanding my why, but understanding how I can help other people. And I think that's a crucial part I've had to learn as an entrepreneur, because I know that I have the skills to do that kind of work, but how do I reach the right people to do it?
Yeah, exactly. And we all get, listen, I've said this before, it's a process.
Right.
What's a quote? Success is a journey, not a destination. And I think we live in this, I always call it, my kids live in this Amazon.now world. Everything, we talked about in Momentum earlier today,
Right.
Everything has to be now. We have to get a client now.
Right.
You get into a conversation, and if you don't close the deal and you don't get them now, you start to go down that spiral of the downward spiral, the black hole of, oh, should I be doing this? What's wrong with me? This person's doing it, right? So the summit is going to help people get a different perspective. The topics that we're covering are not ordinary topics that, look, you might know a lot of the stuff, Ben.
Right.
Other people who come may know this section or that section or this. There's no new information out there. The information is out there. It's all out there. You can chat GPT and get all the stuff, whether it's accurate, I don't know. But the information's out there. What's not out there is taking the action. It's taking that information and putting it into action. So that's why for the summit, we've geared it to be seminar, like a speaker, panel members, and then breakout sessions where we actually deepen the learning. And I actually go into smaller groups so you can network, get to know people, other business owners, and discuss basically some of your like golden nuggets, as my father used to call it, that you gained from that speaker. And
which is awesome.
Yeah, so you might learn something. You will learn something, but you'll also network. And you'll get fed.
Well, food is always important.
And there's free parking. Just saying.
Yeah, the Nook. I've been to the Nook, and I crammed into the Nook. I don't think when I went there, it's in that funny place in Richmond, and it's like you got to really weave your way in there. And I was like, oh, okay. And then when I did that, I didn't even think I parked in the Nook. I think it was too full for the Internet Masterminds event, because it was so there were so many people there, and it's a long commute for me from North Vancouver.
Yeah.
To the Nook, but it was worth it, right?
Well, you could see bus and SkyTrain and then just walk a few blocks, but
I could.
Yeah. So there's 30 parking spots available. We are expecting, I think it seats 60. So we're expecting between 50 and 60. So it opens at 10. There might be a few people who have to park elsewhere, but there might be some people coming from out of town as well, who may just stay in a hotel, which is like directly across the street. There's 2 hotels right across the street.
Okay.
So if you're thinking of coming in June 1st, it's
right,
going to be a beautiful time, right?
Yeah, well, June 1st could, like, I know I was joking about fireplaces on June 1st, but it could happen because sometimes we get wacky weather in Vancouver in the spring, April, May, June, but it could be super nice and super hot too. And in June, it's almost like summer solstice time. So hopefully it's nice and sunny, and we can sit outside, and have some fun with some nice outdoor weather. So I've shared that in the chat here as well. Is this little piece on our next topic, which is on marshallstern.net. That's your website, /page/ the Momentum Program. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, first thing, I want to back up for a second, Ben, because this is really, 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 really important for our listeners or your viewers.
Okay.
The Canucks might be still in the playoffs then. I'm expecting to.
That is true.
So
that is true.
I have a backup plan, right? Because if it's Saturday, you got to have the backup plan. At my wedding, 1994.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Cue the harp again.
Okay.
Back in 1994, I asked my wife because the Canucks were in the playoffs. May 22nd, I got married. They were playing.
Oh my God.
I don't remember. It wasn't the final. Oh, was it the Rangers? It might have, I don't remember who it was at the time. Bottom line, or Dallas or something. I had to actually leave my wedding, go downstairs to see the score because she wouldn't let me put a big screen TV in the ballroom. So if the Canucks are still in the playoffs, which I'm expecting they are, we'll have something set up in case it's a Eastern game and the game's at 4:00. So cocktail party might be like watching the Canucks. I just came up with that.
You see, that is actually a sort of a side, but it could be a segue. As people who know me, part of my specialty with copywriting has been sports writing and sports betting writing and content writing for sports sites, which I'm paid to do, which I then spun off. We talked about entrepreneurial ADD. I do run a Vancouver sports-based podcast in the last 3 or 4 years because of the pandemic. I'm not making money with it yet, but one of the things we focus on is Vancouver sports, and I don't do the Canucks as much as I would normally do them until tomorrow. I have landed a really well-known Vancouver media guy. Brooke Ward is going to be my guest.
Oh, Brooksy, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So Brooke's coming on my podcast tomorrow. It's going to be a live stream like this. It's facebook.com/GoldenV podcast, and I'll share the Buzzsprout information, which is where I host the podcast. But I've asked Brooke, and Brooke has graciously agreed to donate his time to me and probably to you. Brooke needs no introduction, given his time in Vancouver as a sportscaster. Mm-hmm. He's one of my favorites. But I was pretty chuffed about being able to get him to come on the show and actually talk Canucks hockey with me. So the Canucks beat Calgary 4-1 last night. Yeah, obviously, we know that. They got one game left against Winnipeg on Thursday. And we're going to see some playoff action. So that's the backup plan. Yeah, I don't know from my personal opinion, even though we're here to talk about the Entrepreneur Growth Summit and momentum, I don't think the Canucks are still going to be in the playoffs. Somehow I'm just not that confident yet in them as a team, despite a great regular season. So we'll see.
Well, but here's the thing. I'm going to do a segue here. So I think the Canucks are going in finally with some momentum because they struggled the last couple of months, right?
Yes, they did.
And the reason they're going into the playoffs, even if they lose on Thursday, which doesn't matter. In fact, I'd rather them lose. Rest your players, just lose because they've already clinched. You don't want to win the conference. You do not want to win. Anyways, I don't want to get into the details because then we're going to play Vegas or LA. So you don't want to win the conference. But anyways,
right.
The reason that they're building momentum is because they're doing the little things together as a team. They have a structure and they're following the process.
Right.
And in previous years, they weren't. They were just individuals. So in business, we need to, as the leader of the business and every teammate on your business, you need to work together cohesively. Or if you're outsourcing and you bring experts like yourself on board, you need to work as a team and do the little things that are going to move you forward consistently. And that's what they've done this year. That's why they have 50 wins, which is only the third time in team history.
That's right. That's right.
And they're together. And that's why, segue to momentum, I started Momentum. Thank you for mentioning that.
You're welcome.
Because it's, I found too many of us, small business owners, entrepreneurs, were alone in our business. And we weren't working as a team. We were all individual, trying to fight for a little piece of some pie and do things on our own and be alone and isolated and frustrated and overwhelmed. No one's holding us accountable. So I said, let's put something together where on a weekly basis, pretty much 3 times a month, we can get together, talk about business, talk about our challenges, talk about our wins, and help each other. And I can help guide, mentor, coach when need be, but it's also the other members do it as well. As you saw today, great feedback from everyone on different situations that one of the members goes through. And then we hold each other accountable. Like, what are you committed to doing in the next week? And that's it. And then there's like training involved and Facebook group and all that other kind of stuff. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cause I think it's important to highlight the Momentum program because it's part of what you're doing. And I've been working with it for a while. So I've done Create program, which I still use stuff from that. I've done Momentum, taken some of your free workshops, the Entrepreneur Bonfires, remember it's one of them, all the how to create clients workshop. I've tried to use those all to inform how I can help others do that work, but also try and do it for my own business. So I think momentum is really important. And one of the final thing I mentioned that I wanted to share was also these stern truths.
Okay.
which I like to talk to you about because I find them really interesting. Like I want to know where did you come up with the whole idea of the stern truth?
Oh man, I think you're first person in a long time asking me that. I started it back in like maybe 10 years ago.
Right.
I actually had a blog. I still have the website, The Stern Truth, but I had a blog that I was doing. I didn't last long because I didn't really know my why or my what. I was just doing it. But it was like, listen, my last name is Stern. I find there's too much fluff in business.
Right.
And I just want to tell the stern truth of my truth of what I see with entrepreneurs and business owners, why they struggle. And it's from my own experience being in business for 30 plus years and running different businesses, plus my clients. So I just felt like I just need to get out there and tell people the stern truth of what's maybe holding them back. Right. So like today's stern truth, I've put it there before. It's all about focusing. Too many people focus on the wrong activities and they wonder why they're not growing their business. Right. So we have to be more intentional. And if we want it's like there's the quote, if we want things to change, we need to change the things we do.
I agree. And I'm trying to do that myself. And I'm trying to work on that for my own business and generate revenue and do all kinds of stuff. And I think it's important. Rather than try and hide from it, to be upfront about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so, so Momentum is it's a safe space. We meet Wednesdays at either 11 a.m. Pacific for an hour by Zoom or 7:30 p.m. Three times a month. If any of your guests are in business for themselves and want to come as a guest, reach out to you, reach out to me, reach out to you, reach out to me, check it out. We have guests all the time coming in.
Okay.
And just check it out, get to know people. If worst case scenario, you might actually meet someone and support each other.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing too, because I think we've talked about it. You and I've talked about it, and other people have talked about it. How much, I don't want to say intrepidation, but how much concern they have about participating in that kind of stuff and putting themselves out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's really, really important. And I wonder how much people sort of used to be, maybe me included, used to be shy about that. And when you work on all these things internally, like we're talking about working on your why or like other facets, right? How important that becomes to sort of push yourself out there.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And there's the stern truth in the background there. So the stern truth, so people can hear it and see it. Too many small business owners focus on the wrong activities and wonder why they don't get the results they want to try to simplify your focus and perform the activities that energize you and that will move you in your business toward the results and life that you want.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good, isn't it?
That's not bad.
Well, I mean, there's lots of stern truths, so let's try and find. You posted a lot of stuff, right? You posted this one.
Yeah.
You feel overwhelmed and maybe lost while running your business. So that's another important one to share.
Yeah. I try to share. Here's the thing. And you're the wordsmith. You're the guy, you're the expert in that space. There's some digital marketers, a lot of them are out there, and they say, here's our 52-week calendar. Download it for free. Which is great. And I've done that.
Yeah, right.
I've taken courses on it. And for me, what worked here's the stern truth. Just come up with this one.
Yeah, that's good.
What works for one person, may not work for you. You have to do what works for you, but it has to work for you. So what I do for my content is I plan it out a week in advance, not 52 weeks in advance. That for me would just drive me nuts. But I have sort of 4 pillars that I stick to, and I talk about them. And I plan out a week in advance. But here's the funny thing. I might be in a momentum. I might have something for tomorrow, scheduled for tomorrow to go. And we might have a coaching set, or I might just have a private client coaching session with them, and something shows up for them and an insight they got. And I might think, okay, I'm going to change it. I need to change tomorrow's post because this is what's coming up now. And I think people need to hear it.
Right.
Goes back to what we talked about today, momentum. It's not about me.
Right. It's about them.
Nothing about me. It's about them.
Yeah.
It's about what I am hearing and what I think people need to hear. It's going to help them. And the same thing for what you do. It's the same thing what anyone else does. I don't care if it's B2B, B2C, service, product. It's all about the client. What's going to serve them the best?
Well, and I think there's a certain level of, I don't know if it's arrogance or what you want to call it, because I know I felt it. It's like I'm the expert I know, so therefore what you're worried about and what you're looking for doesn't matter, right? And it's like there's so many red flags of people selling this social media type stuff on social media platforms, like download this calendar or do this, right? And you're right. What worked for you as a person that sort of had this idea and shared this program, and it worked for you helping build your business, doesn't mean it's going to help somebody else. And what I would say as a marketer, when I've done market research, would say was, yeah, that's true, because just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You're in a different business and you might have a different target market. Right?
100%.
Right. That doesn't resonate. Right. It doesn't resonate. That messaging doesn't resonate for everybody.
Well, and that's why I think it's really important to, there's too many experts out there. I'm not trying to be one of those experts. This is my own experience. This is my experience, and I work with my clients, but I meet them where they're at. So I hired a coach years ago, in my probably 2002. He called himself a business coach, and he was really a glorified consultant because he came in, sat down with me and my sales rep at the time, and he didn't coach us at all, because coaching is all about asking questions, being inquisitive, getting us to perform at our best, getting us to look at things differently.
Right.
He came in, he basically consulted. He said, this is what I see. Here's a binder. He did some research, and he said, here's the binder. Where's my $5,000 check now? And walked away after a month. Right.
Well,
and it was like,
right.
But it was like, okay, this doesn't work for us. The sales process that he came up with, we didn't buy into. So I'm not bad-mouthing consultants per se, because
I know exactly what you're saying.
There are some consultants who are really good, but systems alone. Look, I don't know if you've ever read Traction. So EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System, amazing book, amazing system. It's a really good book.
Okay.
But you need to, just like E-Myth, but EOS is a system, or Profit First, Mike Michalowicz, it's a system. Pumpkin Plan, it's a system. You need to take these, and I got stuck with E-Myth, Ben, like years and years ago when I first read it. I got stuck systemizing my business. I like system overload, and I was drained, and my sales went down, my productivity went down,
right? Because
I was so focused on the systems that I forgot about what was really in front of me.
Right.
And not every system was the right system. So you have to customize, you have to adapt. It has to work for you. A system won't work if you don't work the system. This is, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, they teach you to build systems, but it's like, if people don't have the training and they use that system, when they get a curveball thrown at them that's outside of the system, how do they adapt to it?
Baseball, I like it. Yeah.
Well, no. I'm not. I didn't even mean to use a baseball analogy. I'm not against those systems. I've used them. What I'm saying is, that's why it's good to have people like you and I in their back pocket, or people pay you to do stuff. That's why I've done stuff with you, because I'm trying to take the next step. And it's like, oh, we'll just follow the system and you'll get clients. Yeah, but there's so many other factors, though.
There's so many other factors, exactly. And look, Arnold Palmer, one of the greatest golfers of all time,
right,
had one of the weirdest, most awkward swings. Scottie Scheffler, who just won the Masters, if you see some of his follow-throughs,
right,
people are going to start to adopt this now. just his stance. If you look at his stance, it's like he's about to, like a tree timber. Like, it works for him though, right? It's not textbook. It's not one swing fits all. There's certain things, mechanics in golf and I guess physics that you have to go through, but some people have a different way of doing it. And if it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, change what you're doing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And there is too much fluff out there. And there are a lot of people out there saying, I can 10x your business, help you build a 7 or 8 figure business. Just give me $10,000, $20,000. And all they're doing to build a 10 or 7 to 8 figure business is charging you $10,000 to $20,000. That's their business, right?
Yeah, someone actually, a contact of mine shared that, and the story about that is her name is Carly Cunningham. She runs a thing called Big Bold Brand, and I believe Carly shared that on her LinkedIn last week, talking about how she was in her business. Maybe I can find the post, and then we're going to wrap it up after this.
Yeah,
she shared it that she took one of those programs. Let me find it, and she said something about how what it did for her or didn't do for her and her business, and how she was basically sharing something that said, here's how to spot these guys.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, hey, scale your business, right? Like, do this, do that. And, I'm trying to find it on her LinkedIn profile.
But no, yeah,
right?
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. LinkedIn, especially. I mean, it, I get it too. I get so many LinkedIn requests and like just spammy messages and emails, hey, Marshall, you there? This is the 4th time I've tried to reach you. I can help you build a 8-figure coaching business. How do you know I don't have an 8-figure coaching business now? I've seen your website and it could use a lot of work. Like,
yeah, thanks.
I have no idea who you are. Do you know what I mean? So, certain tactics that I think authenticity wins out.
Yeah.
If you want a quick buck, sure, go for it. Do it.
Here it is.
Okay.
Here it is. Let's see if I can get it to run here. Right. Here it is. Okay. This is our final thing. And hopefully Carly's watching, but she's probably not. She's probably doing 6 million things at once, like most of us. So this is Carly's recent post, and it really struck me. Agency friends beware. Nick Badeschi is bang on with his advice below. Here's my related story that I share with you and help you save some money and pain. I hired a business coach who needs an agencies but never owned, grew, or even worked in an agency before. They were a CPA. This is one of the worst decisions I've ever made for my small agency partnership and myself. That decision was money costly, more concerning in hindsight the coach's lack of agency building experience and understanding of creative types. Now we think and operate greatly diminished my confidence, maybe question my talents, and if I should simply close down my shop and go get a job, further pushing me into a legit state of depression. There you go. There are a lot of agency gurus out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Like it just... And man, every time I see one of those, sometimes I've walked away from the computer because I don't want to write some snarky comment on the bottom.
Well, and here's the other thing.
Right?
I know we have to wrap it up. Here's the other thing with agency gurus, or if you're a bookkeeper or an accountant and you have accounting gurus, I built an 8-figure accounting business. I can help you do the same.
Right.
The
exactly.
problem, it can be very helpful to have a mentor or someone within the industry, for sure. But I'm going to actually push back on that for a second. It's also very helpful to get an outside opinion.
Right. Of course it is.
Someone outside of the industry. Depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for specific systems, okay. But if you're looking for mindset and coaching and productivity, sometimes we get very myopic in our industry. This is the way we do it. Like in the financial advisor industry, certain way a lot of these financial advising companies operate.
Right.
Sales, this is the way we do it. This is how you cold call, ask your friends and family and whatever. This is the way you do it. This is the model. This is what works.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily work for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because you built a business like that doesn't mean everybody else is going to be able to do it.
Exactly. Sorry.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this. I'll repurpose it on my social media in the next couple of days. Send it to you. Thank you again for momentum. We're going to wrap it up there, and I will talk to everyone soon.